If she ignores you, don't text her, don't chase, don't explain, because the moment you do, you lose all your power. Most men react to silence with fear. They start texting, calling, begging, hoping to fix things. But what if I told you? Her silence isn't the problem. It's your reaction that reveals your weakness. Machiavelli once said, "The man who begs for love will be rewarded with disrespect." In this video, I'll show you how to turn her indifference into obsession. And if you stay until the end, I'll give you a psychological move so powerful, it can make her text you even after she blocks you. The trap most men fall into. When a woman goes silent, most men make the same mistake. And they don't even know it. They react fast. Her silence touches their ego like a hot wire. Suddenly, everything feels off. You start wondering, did I say something wrong? Is she losing interest? What if she's talking to someone else? And those thoughts become louder than logic. So you act. You send her a long message trying to explain yourself. You ask if she's okay, if she's upset, if you did something wrong. You post something on your story hoping she sees it, hoping it triggers her to react. In your mind, you're just trying to fix the connection. You want to bring things back to normal. But in her mind, you just showed your hand. You proved one thing loud and clear. You need her more than she needs you. And in the world of attraction, that is the most dangerous position to be in. Because the moment a woman feels you are emotionally dependent on her, something shifts inside her. The mystery fades, the tension drops, and the respect begins to disappear. She may not say it out loud, but she feels it. This man doesn't lead. He follows. He reacts. He doesn't stay grounded. And once she feels that power imbalance, her desire drops. Because women don't want to feel like the prize. They want to earn a man's attention, not be begged for it. Here's what most men don't understand. Her silence isn't always rejection. Sometimes it's a test. And the more emotional you get in that silence, the more you fail. So the key is this: don't chase, don't explain. Don't try to win her back with words. Instead, hold your frame. Stay calm. Let your absence speak louder than your need. Because in that space, she will start wondering, why isn't he reacting? Did he lose interest? Is he different from the others? That shift, from you chasing to her thinking, is where power begins. The trap most men fall into is needing to be understood. The power lies in being unfazed, what she really wants to see. When she goes silent, she's not waiting for your message. She's watching you, quietly, carefully. Not your words, not your emojis, not your explanations. She's watching your reaction. Because in that moment, she's not asking, does he care? She's asking, what does he do when I pull away? This is not about the text you send. It's about the energy you show. Will you beg? Will you chase? Will you try to win her back? Or will you do something most men can't? Stay silent, stay calm, stay in control. Because here's the truth. Deep down, she wants to feel a man's strength, not in his muscles, but in his mind. She wants to test your emotional control. She wants to know, can he stay centered even when I give him nothing? When you don't react with panic, when you don't try to fix the silence, when you don't rush to prove your worth, something begins to shift inside her. She starts to feel something new and rare. A man who doesn't break. A man who doesn't need her validation. A man who doesn't need to explain himself. A man who doesn't give his power away. And that feeling? It challenges her. Because now she's not sure if she still has control. She's not sure if you're slipping away. She's not sure what you're thinking. And that uncertainty is powerful. It creates tension. It creates curiosity. It creates attraction. The kind that doesn't come from chasing, but from silence. And the moment she feels that tension, the dynamic flips. Now she's the one thinking about you. She's the one checking your profile. She's the one feeling the weight of your absence. Because what she really wanted to see was if you had the strength to walk away and the power to make her feel it. Her silence is not an accident. When she stops replying, don't fool yourself into thinking it just happened. It wasn't an accident. She didn't forget. She didn't suddenly lose all interest. She didn't get too busy to send a single message. Most of the time, her silence is a move, a silent, strategic move. She wants to see what happens when she gives you nothing. No replies, no energy, no attention. Just silence. It's not a mistake, it's a test. And here's what she's really testing. Will he chase me? Will he break down and beg for my attention? Will he react emotionally and lose his center? You see, most men fail this test instantly. Why? Because they take her silence personally. They panic, they overthink, they double text, they post stories just to get a reaction. They write long paragraphs, trying to explain, trying to reconnect, trying to fix it. But here's the truth. She doesn't want your explanation. She wants your reaction. And if your reaction is emotional, needy, or desperate, she wins. Because the moment you chase after her when she pulls back, you're telling her one loud message. You have control over how I feel. And that right there is the trap. Because once she knows she can shake you with just silence, she knows exactly how to handle you every time. But if you don't react, if you stay calm, if you don't message her back, if you disappear with quiet confidence, then suddenly the power shifts. Now you're not the one being tested. You're the one giving the test. Because when her silence meets your stillness, her game collapses. She starts wondering, why didn't he react? Why isn't he chasing me? Did I lose him? Her test turns into confusion, and confusion turns into curiosity, and curiosity becomes desire. You didn't play her game, you changed the rules. That's the difference between a boy who needs approval and a man who understands power. So remember, her silence isn't random, it's a signal, and how you answer it determines everything. How desire really works. Desire doesn't come from comfort. It comes from uncertainty. Most men think, if I'm always there, if I reply fast, if I show how much I care, she'll like me more. But the opposite happens. The more available you are, the more she stops thinking about you. Why? Because there's no emotional tension, and tension is the fuel of desire. Let me make this clear. Women are not attracted to what's safe, simple, and predictable. They are attracted to what makes them feel something unexpected. It's not about being toxic. It's not about playing games. It's about creating curiosity and letting her mind do the work. You don't need to say anything. You don't need to chase. You don't even need to explain why you stopped replying. You just step back, and suddenly her mind starts spinning. Why did he stop texting? Did I say something wrong? Is he losing interest? Is he talking to someone else? These aren't just questions. They are emotional triggers. They spark something deeper inside her, something she can't control. Because here's the secret most men never learn. When a woman is confused, she's emotionally engaged. Her brain is searching for answers. Her heart feels unsure. Her ego feels unbalanced. And in that space, you live rent-free in her mind. Desire isn't built on constant comfort. It's built on emotional movement. She needs to feel something when she thinks of you. A small sense of loss, a question she can't answer, a moment where she realizes, I don't know where I stand with him. That's where attraction grows, but you can't fake it. You have to truly be willing to walk away, not to punish her, not to get revenge, but because you understand this one truth. Being too close kills curiosity. And curiosity, that open space in her mind, is where obsession begins. So stop trying to be perfect. Stop explaining yourself. Stop filling in every silence. Let her wonder. Because when a woman starts wondering about you, she also starts wanting you. And that's how desire really works. The power of strategic disappearance. When most men go silent, they do it wrong. They stop talking because they're angry. They block her to get revenge. They ignore her, hoping she'll notice. But that's not power. That's emotion. A Machiavellian man doesn't disappear to punish. He disappears to control the frame. You don't leave in rage. You don't ghost her like a boy. You step back with calm. You go silent with purpose. Why? Because the most powerful place to live is inside her mind. and you can't live there if you're always talking. Here's the truth. Your absence creates more tension than your presence ever could. Because when you're not around, her mind doesn't go quiet. It gets louder. She starts thinking, why hasn't he reached out? Did I lose him? Was I not enough? Is he done with me? She replays your last message. Then she replays her last words. Then she rewrites the entire story in her head, over and over. And that's the power of strategic disappearance. You're not ignoring her to get a reaction. You're creating space. A space where she reacts to herself. Because when nothing is said, the mind fills in the gaps. And imagination always feels stronger than reality. When you're gone, she doesn't miss your texts. She misses the mystery you left behind. She thinks about what you didn't say, what you didn't do, what you might be doing now. That's not silence. That's a psychological echo. But here's the rule. Never disappear too early, and never stay gone too long. Do it when she starts to expect your attention. Do it when she assumes you're always there. That's when it hits the hardest. Because the goal is not to hurt her, it's to shift the power. And when she feels that shift, when she realizes she doesn't know where you are, emotion begins to wake up inside her. Not love, not comfort, not logic, curiosity. And curiosity is the seed of obsession. So disappear like a shadow, and let the silence say everything. When to use this strategy? Disappearing isn't just about going silent, it's about knowing when to go silent. Because when you vanish at the wrong time, it looks weak. But when you disappear at the right moment, it creates psychological damage. There are 3 perfect times to use this strategy, and each one hits her where it hurts most. 1. When she ignores you after showing interest, she used to text you back fast. She gave attention, laughed at your jokes, gave signals. And now, suddenly, she's cold, distant, silent. This isn't random, it's a test. She wants to see if she can pull away and still have you chasing. This is when most men break. They double text, they ask if everything's okay, they start acting emotional. Wrong move. What you do now defines how she sees you. Instead of chasing, disappear. Let her feel the absence of the man she was starting to like. Now she's the one wondering, did I push him away? Why did he go quiet? Did I misread him? 2. When you're giving more than she is, you're always texting first. You plan the calls, you give your energy, but she gives less and less. This is called emotional imbalance, and if you keep giving while she gives nothing, she'll lose all respect. Why? Because she knows she doesn't have to work for you. And that's when you disappear. No explanation, no anger, just distance. Suddenly, the attention she took for granted is gone. And that quiet loss hits harder than any words. 3. When she gets cold but keeps you close, she still replies. She sends emojis, but the energy is off, you feel it. She's keeping you around, but not really choosing you. This is the most dangerous trap, because it makes you stay in emotional limbo, hoping she'll come back to how she was. Don't wait. This is the time to go. Because your silence will do what your words can't. Break the illusion of control. These are not small moments. They are emotional pressure points. And when you disappear right at those moments, she feels it in her chest. Because she thought she had you wrapped around her finger, until you proved she never did. How long should you disappear? Most men want a number. Should I go silent for 3 days, a week, a month? But there is no fixed number. Because every situation is different. What matters more than how long is why. The goal of disappearing isn't to punish her. It's not to hurt her or make her beg. It's to create space, just enough space for her to feel your absence and start missing you. Here's the rule he must remember. Disappear long enough to be missed, not so long that you're forgotten. If he disappears for only 1 day, she might not even notice. If he disappears for too long, she might move on or numb herself. But if he disappears just the right amount, it creates a storm inside her. Suddenly, she starts thinking, why is he so quiet? Did I lose him? Was I not enough? This mental tension is what builds desire. Because desire doesn't grow from words, it grows from uncertainty. But here's where most men destroy the effect. They come back and explain themselves. They say, "Sorry, I've been busy. I was going through something. I needed time to think." And just like that, the mystery dies. Because now she knows it was all about him, not about her. She doesn't feel your power. She feels your weakness. So here's what a man must do when he returns. Say nothing. No apology, no story, no drama. Just return with calm confidence, like your world never stopped, like you weren't waiting, you were living. Text her like nothing happened. Speak like you were never gone. And that simple silence, that relaxed energy, does something brutal to her mind. She starts to think, did I even matter to him? Why isn't he explaining himself? Is he really that calm without me? And now, without raising his voice or writing long messages, he's taken the power back, because she's no longer in control. He is. All from one decision, to disappear with purpose and return without explanation. How to reappear with power. Disappearing is powerful, but reappearing, if done right, is what creates obsession. Most men ruin it. They come back too soon, too soft, too emotional. They say things like, "Sorry, I was distant. Can we talk? I miss you." But all that does is kill the mystery they created. So if he wants to reappear like a man who owns the frame, here's what he needs to do. First, timing. Never return when she expects it. Not on a Friday night when she's out. Not after she posts a sexy photo hoping for your reaction. Not when she's testing the waters with a vague message or a like on your story. Why? Because returning when she expects you proves she still has control. Instead, appear out of nowhere, on a random Tuesday, in the middle of the day, when she's not thinking about you, and you hit her with something unexpected. That's what makes it feel real and powerful. Second, keep it mysterious and light. Say something casual but personal, like, "Heard a song. Made me think of you. Had a dream about you, not telling you what happened though. Saw a quote, reminded me of something you said." These are not compliments. They're sparks. They don't say, "I need you." They don't say, "I've been hurting." They say, "I'm calm, I'm living, but you crossed my mind." And that drives her crazy, because now she wants more. She wants to know. What dream? What quote? What was he thinking? And in that gap, between what he says and what he leaves unsaid, her imagination starts working. And that's the secret weapon, because curiosity is more powerful than affection. When she's curious, she starts chasing, not for love, but for answers. And if a man can make a woman chase answers, he's already inside her mind. So never reappear with a long speech, reappear with mystery, with calm energy, with confidence that says, "I don't need to explain myself, but I chose to show up." That subtle shift from "please notice me" to "I'm the one who chooses" changes everything. She doesn't just respond, she leans in. The final psychological trigger. The most powerful move a man can make is not the silence itself. It's what he says right before he disappears again. See, most men ruin their final message. They get emotional, they beg, they say things like, "I miss you. Let's stay in touch. Maybe we'll talk again." But all that does is close the loop in her mind. It gives her certainty. And when there's certainty, there's no tension. But you're not here to give her peace. You're here to live in her thoughts, even when you're not around. So instead of giving her closure, you leave her with an unfinished thought. Something calm, something deep, something she can't fully understand, but can't stop thinking about either. For example, real connections don't need words, just time. You didn't explain, you didn't beg, you just planted a mental trap, because the human brain hates what it can't define. It hates maybes, it hates open doors that look closed but might still lead somewhere. And now she is stuck with that feeling. She replays the message, she analyzes it, she starts to think, what did he mean? Was it real for him? Is he done with me? Or is this a test? Should I reach out first? And that's the trigger. Because when someone starts thinking like that, they're not in control anymore. You are. And here's the best part. You don't say anything else. You don't follow up. You don't even check if she responds. You vanish. Again. Not as punishment, not to manipulate, but to let her own mind do the work. And if you've done this right, she won't just remember you. She'll feel like she can't forget you. Because the story between you two didn't finish. It's still open, still incomplete, still alive inside her. And that unfinished story becomes her obsession. Final words. If something in this video shook your mind, if a part of you woke up that was silent before, then don't just scroll past. Mark this moment. Because this wasn't just information. It was a psychological shift. You didn't just learn something, you remembered who you were before the world trained you to chase. So now I ask you, comment the word power. Not for me, not for attention, but for you. As a silent signal that this was the moment you stopped begging for love, stopped explaining yourself, stopped playing the role they expected, and instead, you began to move with calm control. You became a man who no longer reacts to silence because he understands his own. A man who doesn't try to force desire because he knows tension builds it naturally. A man who doesn't chase validation because he became the source of it. If that's you, even if just a part of you, say it below. Power. And if you're ready to go even deeper, to learn how to control a room without saying a word, build the kind of presence that pulls attention, use silence and tension as tools of emotional influence, and design a psychology so unshakable, it feels like magic,